What's up, everyone? Welcome in to Around the Octagon, UFC 304 edition. Joining me today is the full crew, Zack, Ryan, and Luke. Fellas, how we doing? Excited to talk some fights with you guys today.
I feel like we say it every pay-per-view, but there's not too much better than a UFC pay-per-view Saturday, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Couldn't agree more.
Yep, I concur.
Yeah. Let's go, boys. I'm gonna be in Boston for this card. I'm going to Yankees Red Sox Saturday night, so unfortunately I will miss the undercard, but I should get to a bar in time for the main event. All right, let's get right into it, boys. Shauna Bannon minus 175 versus Elise Ardelene at plus 145. It's a strawweight fight. Bannon is 0-1 in the UFC with a UD loss. Ardelene, first fight in the UFC, does have a 9-5 pro record throughout various organizations. Zack, we'll start with you. Who are you targeting this one?
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest here. I don't know much about either of these fighters. I really don't know who would. Little UFC experience between both of them. But Bannon being, better record, and Elise Ardelene is 9-5 in women's MMA. I feel like that's so sketchy without even touching a UFC fight. Therefore, just give me Bannon via decision.
Yeah, I agree with you, Zach. I think Alice Ardelene coming in on short notice for this one. I don't know how long she's had to prepare for this fight, but I know it wasn't too much time. Shauna's definitely just going to have the advantage overall going into the fight, cardio, especially if it goes into those later rounds. So I think she should be able to squeak out a unanimous decision on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I feel that the UFC is kind of doing its thing with promoting these Irish fighters, and I think Bannon's kind of part of that for the women's side. Definitely has seen better competition. Like you said, her opponent's on short notice. I just think that, yeah, she grinds out a UD and hopefully starts off the card well. But as we know, Tong, you'll probably hit on this. We do not bet women's first fights.
We do not. We do not. That is the golden rule of betting UFC fight cards. If it's a women's fight for the first fight, you're going to get burned. You never know what's going to happen. It's a coin flip. I am staying away, but I will root for Bannon for you guys. All right, let's move on. Mick Parkin, minus 370 versus Brzeski at plus 275, a heavyweight fight. Parkin, 4-0 in the UFC, last 3 wins, all via UD. No significant wins on the record yet. Brzeski is 2-3 in the UFC, won his last fight in April via a UD. Gentlemen, where are we feeling with this one? A heavy favorite in the heavyweight division here early on.
Yeah, Parkin's a younger fighter. He's up and coming. He's in front of his home crowd. I think a lot of times in these fights outside of the country and whatnot, they like to give their guys fighting in front of their home crowds favorable matchups.
Yep.
And I think this is a perfect example of that. Parkin will also hold the wrestling advantage, as Brzeski is very susceptible to takedowns, and therefore I see Parkin taking the fight to the ground, grinding him out, and taking home a UD. That actually, if we do a 4-leg parlay, I might take Parkin as my leg as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, Zach. Maybe not with the unanimous decision, but I think Mick Parkin has the opportunity to get it done by finish. He has 30 pounds on his opponent, as well as that grappling advantage. So if he's able to use his weight well, I think he could find his way to either a ground and pound, TKO, or a sub.
Yeah, I'm with you guys as well. Clean sweep across the board. I think Parkin has a really good opportunity right now to, be. I think you said he's 4-0 right now. So
yeah,
be 5-0, and I think this will be a great opportunity to finally get a finish in the UFC and start fighting some better competition. Once you get into that 5-0 in the UFC mark, you're right on the edge of fighting for a ranked opponent.
Yeah, I agree with all you guys. I'm going with Parkin as well. Not only is he a better wrestler, I also think he's a better striker in this one. And he also does train with Tom Aspinall, which I think is pretty beneficial. He'll want to get a win fighting underneath Aspinall on this card. I think this is a great parlay piece, and I think Parkin gets it done relatively easily in this one. All right, Sam Patterson, minus 450 versus Kiefer Crosby at plus 325 in the welterweight division. Patterson, 2-1, both wins via the rear naked choke. Crosby 0-1 in the UFC, lost via a rear naked choke. Guys, does this just scream a rear naked choke win for Patterson?
Yeah, I think so. I have Patterson via sub. He has a decent resume. He's also very big. He's very lanky. I think he should be able to control the octagon. And given his wrestling and submission game, I do think he gets Kiefer down. I do think he wins via sub.
Yeah, this fight, I do have Patterson winning, and I do have him winning by sub. If I had to get specific, I'd probably say second round. But this fight does scare me just because Sam Patterson, when making his UFC debut at lightweight, got chinned within like the first minute of his fight. So he is susceptible to those big shots, and he does leave his chin in the air. So it makes him open for counters. But if he's able to get this one to the ground, I think he'll take care of Kiefer Crosby. 2 of his 4 losses come by sub. So Patterson definitely does have the advantage, especially when it comes on the ground.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think just like the intangibles here, younger guy, he's got an 8-inch reach advantage. And like you said, he's not fighting at 155. This is a 170 fight. So I think there's plenty of paths to victory here. I think this is a great parlay piece, a safe piece. I'm going Patterson all day.
Clean sweep across the board once again. Next, another fight. I'm really excited for this one. Muhammad Mokaev at -160 versus Manel Kape at +135. I was surprised it was this far down in the undercard. To be honest with you, in the flyweight division, Mokaev 6-0, won his last via UD versus Alex Perez, has 4 wins via sub, while Kape is 4-2, has won 4 in a row and beat Felipe dos Santos via UD in his last fight. This is a good stylistic matchup here. Kape more of a striker, Mokaev more of a grappler. You guys going with the grappler or the striker in this one?
I feel like I always tend to lean towards the grapplers personally. I feel like that's a little bit of a crutch of mine, but I'm going to not overthink this one. I think, well, first off, why is this fight so far down on the card? Does anyone really know? Like, this could really be a title eliminator fight. I don't understand that at all.
Muhammad Mokaev thinks it's because the UFC doesn't like his fight style. Manel Cap's also missed weight for his last 2 fights. And I know it was originally supposed to be on the main card, and then as the week progressed, it just kept getting pushed down and pushed down and pushed down. But apparently Manel Cap's on pace to make weight. He weighed in like 133 on Wednesday, which is the lightest he's ever weighed for a fight in his career at that time. So Manel Cap's taking this one seriously, and he wants to make the weight. So I think Mokaev might have some truth to that, where you just wet blanket a guy and hold him down for 15 minutes. The UFC doesn't really like that. They want to put on a show, and Mokaev's fight style can be kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean, that can make sense. Like, yeah, like I could see that, but I still don't understand, like, on the early prelims, like, really? I mean, it has a lot of implications for the division. I don't know. I find that a bit weird, but like going back to the fight, I think Mokaev, again, will be able to take this fight down to the ground. And if he's able to do so, he can rack up that control time and steal rounds. And honestly, I think he will end up finding a submission in this fight. I have Mokaev via sub.
It's the first one I think we're going to disagree with. I have Manel Cap simply because he hates Muhammad Mokaev. He saw him in the UFC PI a while back and headbutted and elbowed him. And then he just got into another fight with Mokaev this week at the Fighter Hotel. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yep.
And I think watching Mokaev's last fight against Alex Perez did a tremendous job stuffing a bunch of those takedowns. And I thought it was arguable that he could have won the 3rd round. And Mokaev has this tendency where if you kind of hit him with the shot, or you lean in to hit him with the shot, and you saw it in the Perez fight, he just his entire body drops. So he's there for one of those just big uppercuts. And I think Manel Cap's a much better striker than Alex Perez. And I think he can catch him, especially in that later rounds, like the end of round 2, round 3, where Mokaev's been seen to wear out a little bit in the gas tank. And I think overall, maybe like an uppercut or something slick from Manel Cap could put Mokaev away.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm glad you hit on the hatred between the two. Cap did get in the fight this week. I've been bouncing back and forth between both these guys all week. I think really at the end of the day, we haven't seen a Mokaev line. Like, what did you say it was? -125?
-160.
160. Like, that's great value over his last 5 fights. And like you said, Kape can't seem to make weight. He does seem to be taking this fight very seriously. But yeah, 5 canceled bouts in the last year. I don't know. I think the thing that is swaying me to Mokaev right now, and this is who I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Mokaev by UD. Is that he's actually British. I didn't know that he was British until today when I was doing some background. And I think when that crowd is behind you and they're loud and they're going to be drunk, I think that's going to give him a little bit of extra edge. But yeah, like you said, he could get caught at any moment if he gasses out early. It could end pretty badly. I think if Kape wins, it's going to be by knockout. And also an interesting fact, he's got 77% takedown defense, which is like better than most of the other guys Mokaev has fought. So I think this is a banger. I think this is a great way to, like, is it technically the early prelims? Yeah. I think this is a great start to the card or beginning of the card, but I'm going Mokaev by UD.
Hey, Luke, I like how you touched on the crowd in that, because another big factor the crowd can play, which it really shouldn't, is potentially influencing the judges. You know, if something's going one way, you land one strike and you hear the crowd react away, which it really shouldn't for that strike. Like sometimes you can see that playing a factor in the judges' scorecard. So if it does go a decision, keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But at the end of the day, damage is what wins UFC fights. So we'll see. I think this very much could be a split decision where we're going back, and we're talking about it, next pod about how we were kind of split on this one. But at the same time, I just think the crowd, I think, like you said, title eliminator, he calls out for the belt right after if you win. So that's why I'm rocking with Mokaev.
Yeah, I got to go with Mokaev in this one. He has the flyweight record for control time percentage and fewest strikes absorbed per minute. So to me, I think he's going to win 29-28 via UD. He's going to get Kape down in 2 of the 3 rounds and really just kind of dominate. And then there's going to be one round where it's kind of back and forth, and Kape has some moments and has some strikes that I think steals him around. But ultimately, with those stats for me, for Mokaev, me, I'm a stat nerd, but that's why I ultimately landed on him to get this one done via decision. All right, Oban Elliott plus 125 versus Preston Parsons at minus 150 in the welterweight division. Elliott 2-0, both wins via decision. Parsons 2-2, won his last win via UD. He has alternated wins and losses throughout his UFC career thus far. Zach, are you going with the underdog Oban Elliott in this one?
I actually had Parsons down until I went into this call earlier and we were talking about the fights a little bit and how you guys both said you liked Elliott. I really wasn't too high on either guy, to be honest. I know Parsons is favored in the grappling department, which is kind of why I went with Parsons initially. But I have this one as a toss-up. I mean, it's kind of hard to go off of like who these guys have fought and their track records. Elliott really, what has he fought? Like 2 cans in the UFC, which can't really discredit that given it was his first 2 fights in the UFC, but it's kind of hard to like gauge his skill set for me. But I had Parsons winning via decision, but again, like I wouldn't put too much stake into what I'm saying on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Oban Elliott in this one. Like you said, Zach, before with the Mokaev fight, crowd's gonna be in his favor. So swaying judges, especially if it's a close fight, has the crowd on his side, being that he is Welsh. And I think Oban Elliott should be able to pull this one out and get it done.
Yeah, I'm on Elliott too. I think the biggest hit against Elliott right now is his last 5 wins going back to Cage Warriors in 2022 have all been UDs. And when you're kind of like a toted prospect, you want to see those finishes, which is something he's lacked. But that Val Woodburn fight, he dominated that fight. There was plenty of times where like just choke him out or just like a couple more ground and pound strikes, he would have got him out of there, and he just couldn't finish it. But I think he has the ability to, control this fight for 15 minutes. Even when he's been in danger in the past, he seems to always come through, get his head on straight, and finish the fight on, getting the judge's decision. So I'm going with Elliott. I think this is great value at plus money. Definitely a parlay piece, and I don't think it's crazy to take him UD again here.
Yeah, I'm with you, Zach, where I struggled to pick a fighter in this one. But one thing that I do like is it going the distance. Parsons has gone the distance in 3 of his 4 fights in the UFC. And the last 5 fights of Elliott's pro career that Luke just touched on have all gone the distance. So for me, this one just screams over 2.5 rounds. I don't know. It's tough for me who's going to get this one done. I'll probably stay away from that, but I think I'm going to take the over in this one. All right, guys.
One more thing I want to say, like, I feel like a lot of fights on this card, it's great to look at the over and rounds. I feel like a lot of these fights are going to go to decision, especially with the new gloves and everyone's saying, less knockouts. There are some good sub guys on this card, but I think a lot of the overs are going to smack in this card.
I like that. You usually don't put over unders for the rounds in my bets, but I think I might have to for this card in particular. Modestas Bukauskas minus 150 versus Marcin Prachnio at plus 125 in the light heavyweight division. Modestas is 3-4 in the UFC, has won only 2 of his last 6 fights. Got knocked out by Vitor Prachnio in his last fight. Prachnio is 4-5, has won 4 of his last 6, so trending in opposite directions here. Guys, who do you have in this one? This was a tough one for me to predict. Neither one really screams top of the class in their division.
No, I've been like looking around on social media a little bit about this fight, and I've seen a ton of people on Petrino. I really have not seen too many people on Modestas, even though he is the favorite. I mean, Petrino has fought some killers. I mean, he fought Khalil Roundtree, Ankalaev. He's definitely been in there with some of the top of the division. And I just think just being more battle tested will fare him well in this fight, and I have him winning via decision.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, both these guys have fought Victor Petrino. They both got smoked by Victor Petrino. And then both these guys have also fought Khalil Roundtree. Prachnio actually beat Khalil Roundtree. I don't know how that happens. And Bukauskas, if you remember that oblique kick, that stomping oblique kick, Khalil Roundtree is the one that destroyed Bukauskas' knee and took him out for like a year and a half. And I think Prachnio really relies on leg kicks to establish his game. And I think that's going to overall win him the fight. Just setting up those leg kicks, getting him like prepared, for those bigger shots. I think he'll be able to squeak this out with like a unanimous decision.
Wow, 2 guys on the underdog. Luke, is it another guy on the underdog?
Yeah, I'm on Petrino here. I think that Bukauskas is just like too much of a wild card here. I think this is definitely a fight you kind of stay away from. But like you said, he lost to Khalil Roundtree in like pretty extraordinary fashion, and then he left the UFC for 2 fights. He went back to Cage Warriors, where he kind of made his name known in MMA. I don't know. I think you always got to tout with the guy who's, has more success recently and also has been in the UFC fighting the big dogs for a little bit longer. Even though Bukauskas has some good wins, like you said, that Petrino fight, he got dominated. I don't know. I'm just going to go with Petrino here. I think that this is the value play. It's just a value play. I would stay away from this, though, and I'm not playing this in any parlays.
Clean sweep for the underdog. All right, guys. Jake Hadley, plus 175 versus Callen Loughran at minus 210 in the bantamweight division. Hadley is 3-3 on a 2-fight losing streak, both by decision. Loughran is 1-1 in the UFC. Did get a win in the last fight, though. Where are you guys going with this one?
Yeah, I mean, Callen Loughran, I'm actually very excited to watch him fight. I like his charisma. Very outgoing dude, and I think he was given a very winnable matchup here. He's a guy, he'll throw a lot of volume, and he does have legitimate power too. And this is also a very short turnaround. Well, I don't want to call it very, but it's a short turnaround for Hadley. He fought in, I want to say May, like early May. So I mean, it's like a 2-month turnaround to hop back into another camp right away. That can take something out of you. So given that short turnaround and Loughran's power and volume, I'm favoring him to win, and I have him actually winning. I have him cracking the chin and getting a TKO finish.
Yeah, Zach, I agree with you. Jake Hadley took this fight on short notice, and it is notable this is a bantamweight fight, and Hadley fights at flyweight. So, I mean, already you're going in with the massive size advantage for Loughran. Strength's going to be there too, and I just see Callen Loughran kind of just bullying Jake Hadley with his size, and getting the job done in like rounds 2 or 3.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I think obviously this being a short notice fight, he's going to play in the favor of the guy who's been in camp for longer. And I also, same thing with Shannon on the bottom of the card. They're pushing the Irish guys. And I obviously know this is a UK card, but I feel like UFC overall, they're trying to find that next McGregor. So I'm going with Loughran here. Like you said, I like the way he talks, and I think the size advantage, especially fighting a guy on short notice, is a great matchup for him. I have him. I think I'll take him knockout as well. We're doing a prop here.
Yeah, I love Loughran in this one, man. I think this is a hammercock play. And if we do a parlay, this is going to be my pick. I think this is just an absolute smash play, especially given the short notice. Yeah, I'm going to slam that thing. All right. Molly Meatball McCann returns at minus 360 versus Bruna Brasil at plus 270. Strawweight division. Molly is 7-5. Did get back in the win column in her last fight via sub after losing 2 in a row. Brasil is 2-2, coming off a loss. I think this is another one where Dana White knows Patty Pimblett and Molly Meatball are huge stars and giving him a good matchup to try to please the home crowd. I think Molly Meatball gets this one done. I think she's a much better striker. I think she's a better grappler. Crowd favorite, good matchup. Do you guys agree with me? Is Molly Meatball going to get back in the win column?
Yeah, I think she makes this a 2-fight win streak. I mean, Molly looked great in her last outing. She finally worked on her grappling game, it looked like, which was definitely much needed. So her doing that. I think she's the more experienced fighter. Well, not even I think she is a more experienced fighter. She's fought the tougher chicks, and Brasil has been a little chinny, like being finished via like knockout / TKO in WMMA. Like, come on, that's kind of impressive to get knocked out 3 times in WMMA. So I have Molly winning via TKO.
Yeah, as do I. I think she definitely now carries the size advantage. She was fighting in a higher weight class and moved down. That's where she got her bounce back win in her last fight. And I think she's just going to be too much for Bruna Brasil. Also, there's not many women that kind of hold the power that Molly McCann does. You all remember the spinning elbow that put her on the map. Yep. It's like really rare to see that from women's fighters. And especially with the crowd on her side, I think she's going to be gunning for that finish. I think she's just going to apply that pace and pressure on Bruna Brasil that she won't be able to handle.
Yeah, I think Callen hit it right in the head. This is a classic UFC play here. You pick the girl who's the fan favorite, the country favorite, and you just ride with her. I have this weird feeling that it's going to go to UD. I feel like, I don't know why. I just feel like everyone's going to be hammering the TKO KO prop, and I think it's very low. I think it was like in the 200s last time I looked. And if you remember back to when she was doing the spinning elbow and getting those wins, it was like plus 900. So I have a feeling that she's going to take this the distance. That's just like a crutch I have. But I definitely, slam Molly. What's the line now? It's like -360.
Minus 360. It'd be a parlay piece.
Yeah, I think this is your safe parlay piece. I think. Yeah, clear decision here. No questions about it. Move on.
All right. Another pretty big favorite, Nathaniel Wood at -450 versus Daniel Pineda at +325 in the featherweight division. Wood is 7-3. Lost last fight to Muhammad Naimov. Oh, Naimov. It's a mouthful. Via UD to end his 3-fight winning streak. Does have a win over Andre Fili, though. Solid win. Pineda is 5-6 with 1 no contest. Lost last fight via UD to Alex Caceres. I think Nathaniel Wood's a smash play here, guys. I mean, if I see a losing record with over 10 wins in the UFC, it's just someone that I want to stay away from in Pineda. Wood just seems like the way more polished fighter here. Do you guys agree with me?
Yeah, I agree. And he's much younger, too. He has a lot less tread on those tires, and that'll add up on you. Wood is good striking. I don't think I really need to say too much more. I have Wood winning via decision.
Yeah, I mean, I also have Wood winning everywhere in this fight. I mean, that Muhammad Naimov fight, he got shafted. Muhammad Naimov kicked him in the groin, like maybe I think it was like 2, 3, maybe 4 times. Didn't get a point taken away. And you could tell that it really affected him in his last fight. And that's pretty much how Muhammad Naimov was able to beat him, especially at the end in the 3rd round. Wood was able to get that advantage. He took him to the ground and was just raining ground and pound shots. But unfortunately, the clock expired before he could get it done. And I think Nathaniel Wood, with the crowd on his side, is going to come in here hungry for a victory, especially after getting cheated out of what should have been a win against Muhammad Naimov.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I'm on Wood here. I think I really got put on the Wood train. That sounds terrible, but
hold on.
Pause.
As you guys know, I'm a big Andre Fili fan, and if I think you remember that fight, it was pretty close at the beginning. I think in the second, Wood rocked him, and I was like, "Damn, this guy's got hands." Andre Fili I'm a fan of his. I think he's pretty good as well. We touched on that last pod. Who did he fight?
Cub Swanson.
Yeah, Cub Swanson, which was a close fight as well, but I think that really put me on. I think Wood is the play here. Just like you guys said, better everywhere, younger guy, crowd on his side. I think this is also a great parlay piece. The number's wide for a reason. I'm smashing Wood here.
Smashing Wood, baby. Smashing Wood. Hopping on the Wood train, chopping wood. Luke's doing it all, baby.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Clip it.
All right. This is a great fight, guys. One I'm really excited for. Arnold Allen at -225 versus Giga Chikaza at +185 in the featherweight division. Allen is 10-2, has lost his last 2, but to Max Holloway and Mazwar Evliov by UD. Those are no slouches, so not too bad for Arnold Allen. Giga is 8-2, beat Alex Caceres via UD in his last one after getting his ass kicked by Calvin Kattar, to put it bluntly. Does have wins over Edson Barbosa and Cub Swanson, so pretty strong track record for Giga. I think this is a closer fight than what the odds would indicate. Zach, which way are you leaning?
Yeah, I also think it's closer than the odds indicate, to be honest. I thought it'd be more of like a minus 150, minus 160 for Arnold Allen. But I think Calvin Kattar kind of laid out the game plan on how to beat Giga. I mean, you just like pressure him. He didn't do well with the pressure. He tired out. But I will say this fight being 3 rounds, I think there was conversations of it being 5 initially. I think this fight being 3 rounds opposed to 5 favors Giga more than it does Arnold Allen, just like given the cardio from that standpoint. But it is a fun little like kicking versus punching matchup here. But I think if Arnold Allen is able to pressure Giga, he will tire him out. And I have Arnold Allen winning via decision, but it should be a really fun fight. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, Giga is definitely as tough as they come. I mean, he took a tremendous beating with Kattar, and Kattar wasn't able to put him away. And I think Zack touched on the fact that pressure seems to be the biggest problem in Giga Chikadze's game. And Arnold Allen is known for those like high pace, like high volume blitzes. I mean, he KO'd Dan Hooker with one of those. He tried doing it to Max Holloway. Can't do that to Max Holloway.
Can't do that to Max Holloway.
And regarding his Movsar Evloev fight, it's like kind of funny now that if the rules were changed, because they just changed the rules to a grounded opponent, where if if your feet are touching but your hands touching, you're no longer considered a grounded opponent. And that rule pretty much stopped Arnold Allen from getting a finish. I mean, he had Movsar on like that head crank and was just kneeing him in the face. And the only thing that saved Movsar was the fact that he was able to get his hand on the ground for one of those knees. So the ref was forced to separate the fight. But today's rules, he gets that one done and he TKOs him. And just given the track record of Arnold Allen, I have him winning this fight by knockout.
Yep, I'm on Arnold Allen too. You go 5 rounds with Max Holloway at a high pace. Like if you guys remember that fight, I think it was a Kansas City fight night.
Yep.
Back when we were in school actually, or maybe right after we graduated. But I remember watching that fight in a bar and being like, "Oh, Arnold Allen's here to, he's here to fight." He fought really well those first couple rounds. And Zack, contrary to what you said, I think the 3 rounds helps Allen more. I think Giga does a great job with his kicks. I think he's going to be, trying to piece him up from the outside. But like you guys said, the pressure by Arnold Allen, he's going to be standing in the middle, walking forward the whole time. And it's going to get to him. I think with the gas tank, he knows what he could do in 3 rounds. I don't know if he gets a finish here, but I think it's a 30-27 type of deal. I don't see a way unless Giga gets, not lucky, but calculated head kick and knocks him out or gets him to ground and pound. I don't see a way Giga's winning this fight. I think Arnold Allen is 1 fight away from being up in the top, and I would love to see maybe a Lopez fight after this for him, or even oh my God, I'm blanking. Who's Ortega? I think those are 2 great fights set up after. Obviously, he's got to get this one done, but he's still ranked number 5 for a reason. So I'm riding with Allen, home crowd as well.
Luke, I'm going to circle back, a lot of which where I was saying why I think the 3 rounds favors Giga more than it would Allen. I'm not saying that where I think like, oh, this tosses in his favor. I just think Allen would have an easier path to victory if it was 5 rounds. Because, I mean, we have seen Giga tire out. And, like, with those kicks, like, it's not easy to throw kicks for an entire fight. Like, that's a heavy limb to be throwing around for 5 rounds. And that will take a toll on him. So that's kind of my thought process behind that. Not as much so where I think it tilts the fight into Giga's favor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got it. I agree with that 100%. Definitely hard to throw the kicks, especially with power for 5 rounds. But just like on the other side, I think, pressing forward for 5 rounds is very hard to do, which we kind of saw against Max Holloway. He looked good in the first 3, and then Max just laid it on him at the end, the championship rounds, even though it wasn't a championship fight. So I think both ways kind of play in Allen's favor, and I am happy that it's a 3-rounder for this one.
Yeah, I'm with you, Luke. The only thing I'm really worried about is the kicks from Giga, but, this should be a really fun one, a nice, good old-fashioned striking battle. Gets the juices flowing, gets everyone pumped up in the crowd. I just think Arnold Allen's fought better competition. He's a little bit cleaner right now in his striking, and that fight against Max, he really gave him a run for his money. So I'm going to go with Arnold Allen as well. Although I don't love the $225 price tag, I'm still going to take Arnold Allen. All right, Christian Leroy Duncan, -140 versus Gregory Rodriguez at +120. In the middleweight division, Duncan is 3-1, all wins via KO. Rodriguez 6-3 on a 2-fight win streak, both via KO. Beat Brad Tavares in his last fight. I think both guys are going to come out swinging, but who's going to be the last one standing?
Give me Gregory Rodriguez here. I'll take Gregory Rodriguez.
He's taking the dog.
I think he's fought tougher competition. He does a better job of switching up the fight. He has he's good on his feet. He can take the fight to the ground. He can kind of dictate that way. I think that'll allow him to throw more freely. And I think Rodriguez is the one walking out with his hand raised there. Give me that underdog.
Couldn't agree more, Zach. I have Rodriguez winning this by KO, TKO. Could be on the ground, could be standing. I love RoboCop in this. I think he definitely holds the grappling advantage. Christian Leroy Duncan's only loss is to Armand Petrosian, and the grappling was what gave him significant problems in that fight. RoboCop is willing to take blows. He has a hell of a chin. I don't know if you ever saw that Nchikawani fight where he split his the top of his nose clean off, and he just ate it. Went in, ended up getting that fight to the ground, TKO'd him via ground and pound, and that's where both his last two fights have been won by. I think he'll do it again.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm right with you there. I think CLD Duncan, on the other hand, might have a slight advantage technically on the feet. I think he's more of like the point fighting style, which could play a role. But like you said, I think Rodriguez is so head over heels better on the ground. The only thing that scares me is, this is Manchester, right? Manchester card. That crowd, it's going to be one of the best UFC crowds, we've seen in a while. That stadium's huge. And I don't want to get too big for him in the moment where he tries to stand and bang. I think he does that for the first because he's more of a, looking for that kill shot. I think if it doesn't get there, you start taking him down the second. I really hope he uses his ground game. But I think if he does, he definitely flies his way to a ground and pound victory. So I'm going to take Rodriguez TKO. But sub is in play here.
Damn, you guys are all going Rodriguez. I'm on Duncan in this one. I think Rodriguez is a little bit more chinny. He takes more strikes per minute than Duncan does. And I actually think Duncan's going to land a nice overhand and knock out Rodriguez.
Yeah, I don't think that's a crazy play. I definitely think that this is a close fight. This is going to be a banging fight. I'm surprised it's this high up. I wish it was a little bit lower on the card, to be honest, because it's like one of those where you get the juices going, get the crowd going right away. But I think Duncan is just as live as Rodriguez. I think it's all comes down to game plan here.
I agree. It should have been a featured prelim. Kick you right off into the main event.
I think it was. I think it was part of the switch with the Kape fight.
Oh, really?
Kape fight. Yeah, I think so.
That makes sense. I mean, you guys got me a little nervous now, though, taking the favor in this one. I kind of like the juice on Rodriguez, but I'm going to stick to my guns. All right. King Green. Yes, King Green, formerly known as Bobby Green, minus 115, is fighting Patty the Batty Pimblett at minus 105. Nearly a pick 'em in this one in the lightweight division. Green, a UFC vet, 17-12-1 with one no contest. Beat Jim Miller back in April. King Green is one of the most active fighters in not only this division, but in the entire organization. He did get knocked out by Jalen Turner, though, the fight before. We touched on that in April when we were breaking down that fight card. This will be King Green's 50th professional fight. That's crazy. Patty the Batty, 5-0 in the UFC. UD wins over Tony Ferguson in the controversial win over Jared Gordon in his last two. Does Patty the Batty stay undefeated, Zach?
I don't think so in this one. Well, I do think Patty has more routes to victory where he can win on the grounds, and like King Green is susceptible to getting hit on his feet. How he fights with his hands down. I think Patty just keeps his head up in the air way too much, and he's so susceptible to just getting hit. But I will say, he does have one hell of a chin on him. I feel like it's something that's not really talked about. But if you go through and watch his last couple fights, he's gotten rocked so many damn times to just a clean left hook to his chin up in the air, and he does stay on his feet. But I think in this one, he eventually will go down. I have King Green winning via knockout.
I got Patty winning by unanimous decision. I think it's going to be a close one, and I think it's going to come down to the judges. And I think when you're Patty Pimblett on a judge's scorecard in Manchester, you're immune to losing. You saw that with the blatant robbery Jared Gordon fight. And I think this one's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think it's going to be like tit for tat, especially if Patty waits on the back foot because Bobby Green is a counter striker. So if he forces King Green, to go first, I think Patty could get some good shots in there that maybe rock or stun, because Patty does have power. I mean, he dropped Tony Ferguson in their fight. The only other person to do that was Michael Chandler when he front kick KO'd him. So, I mean, definitely power advantage goes to Patty. Ground game goes to Patty. If he can get it on the ground, you can even see Patty probably finish this one by sub. But Bobby Green or King Green is very hard to take down. So, like I said, I think Patty's just going to do more to sway the judges and overall win this one UD.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Going into this fight, I'm concerned because Patty has the whole, obviously, feel for him. He's struggled with a couple of his friends have committed suicide, something he's been open about, which is great for, men everywhere. But he said, he almost got pulled by his coaches because he was so depressed. So that concerns me on such a big card. It's such a turn in your career. Like, you win this fight, it's huge for him. So that's something that concerns me. Also, like you touched on, Ryan, you're kind of saying Patty by sub. Fun stat for you. Bobby Green or King Green hasn't been submitted since 2009. So almost, I don't know how many years, a lot of years. And he lost to David Mitchell and Tachi PF to a toe hold. So, like, the same thing. I was like, oh,
wait, he got subbed by a toe hold?
That's what it says on Tapology. Lost toe hold, 54 seconds left in the first round. So I agree. I agree with you that, like, Bobby Green is, it's definitely Patty Pimble has the clear advantage on the ground, clear advantage in jiu-jitsu, but it's not like Bobby Green. This is the first guy that's good at jiu-jitsu that Bobby Green's fought at a pro level or in the UFC. I think if every round starts on the feet, and I think it takes one by Bobby Green, I think he's kind of on this like weird second win trajectory right now. I forget who I was on in the Jim Miller fight, but he beat the brakes off of Jim Miller, and I think Patty and Jim Miller would be like a good fight. Stylistically, matches up well. So I think if Bobby Green keeps us on the feet, I think he pieces him up. I don't know if he gets him out of there. I know, Patty's got a great chin, but I definitely think this is a shock to the crowd. I think the line's correct with King Green being the slight favorite. I'm rocking with King Green by UD.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this one. Green is a solid boxer. The takedown defense is there. I did not know that submission stat that you just gave us, Luke. That kind of, because the way I saw this fight playing out was Patty's going to get cracked in round one. The crowd's going to go, oh, and Patty's going to be fine. He's going to back up a little bit. He's going to hit Green with a solid one, get him down, and then just blanket him for the rest of the round. And I thought he was going to try to get a rear naked choke. But now I'm all skeptical after that stat. So I'm going to ultimately agree with Ryan. Patty gets it done via decision, 29-28, yes. Maybe even a split. But I'm going to go with Patty the Batty in his hometown. Remains undefeated. And I think with a win here, he could potentially sneak into those rankings.
He will. If he wins here, he'll sneak in. He'll be ranked.
Yeah, I think Bobby Green's ranked 14 or 15.
Yeah, he'll probably take a spot.
Yeah. He'll be ranked to the win here.
On that sub stat, shout out to the guys at Running Mouth MMA. Was listening to the pod earlier this week, and they called that out, and I was like, that can't be true. So I did my Tapology research. That was crazy. They called that, though. I can't take credit for that one.
I thought we were suing Tapology after.
Oh, really, Luke? I thought you watched his last 50 professional.
Yeah, 2009. That was on my mind. What was Bobby Green doing in Tachi PF?
Yeah, I was like, no, Luke did his research. He watched all 50 pro fights to figure out the last time he got subbed.
we are suing Tapology, though, for the not clear title.
Let's get back on the fuck Tapology bandwagon, dude.
Shout out on Loft.
All right, the co-main event for the interim heavyweight title fight and a date to fight the winner of Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic, according to Dana White. Tom Aspinall, minus 400, the interim heavyweight champ, versus Curtis Blades at plus 300. Aspinall, 7-1. Of course, his only loss was to Blades when he blew out his knee. He did knock out Sergey in his last fight for the interim title, but maybe not as much weight into that now, given how Sergey looked in his last fight just a few weeks back. Blades, 13-4 with one no contest. Knocked out Jalton Almeida in his last fight, but that's after he got knocked out by Sergey. They meet again, finally, a couple years after Aspinall blew out his knee at minus 400. Are you guys going to take Tom Aspinall?
I think that line of minus 400 is kind of wild, to be completely honest. I would see like Aspinall being like minus 250, maybe like minus 200, minus 250. Like I could completely see that, but minus 400 is such a steep line. I'm not a big fan of that. But Colin, like you were saying, maybe not as much stake into that Sergey win after his last fight. You could also attribute him fighting that way against Volkov because of what Aspinall did to him. Maybe that's what attributed to Sergey being so trigger shy. But going back to this fight, I think Aspinall does a much better job on his feet. He has much better movement. He's able to find his range very well, go in and out. And like while Blade's wrestling is hyped up, it's not like Aspinall's grappling. He's like a slouch or something. Like I'm hearing a lot about Blade's wrestling abilities, and it's like, okay, I mean, Aspinall has been doing jiu-jitsu for how long? I mean, that's what the guy was born and raised on. So the grappling like of Blades doesn't really scare me to that extent. I have Aspinall finding Blades' chin within the first 2 rounds and getting him out of there.
Yeah, definitely. I think the line also, like what you said, Zach, the line is definitely crazy. I was shocked to see Tom Aspinall coming in at a minus 400 favorite, especially because I think Blades presents like some of the biggest problems he's going to have to face in the heavyweight division. I was thinking more like maybe minus 150, minus 200 in that area. And given that, well, I do have Tom Aspinall winning, I won't be betting on Tom Aspinall. There's just like no true value here, especially when there is a path to victory for Curtis Blades. But I think ultimately the oh man, I'm blanking on the word. Like the speed of Tom Aspinall and like the overall being a more well-rounded fighter and not where Blades relies pretty much on his wrestling and slight power to get fights done. Aspinall is just very more focused and well-rounded in that game of MMA. And I think that's going to lead him to either second round KO or UD if it gets there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on in this fight. Obviously, the speculation about people are like pissed that this fight's even happening. Obviously, normally in the UFC, you win the interim belt, you fight for the consolidated belt with the champ. That's not happening because Jon Jones makes his own rules. When you're the GOAT, you get to make your own rules, which I'm actually fine with. It's just we're in a weird spot. I rewatched the first Blades Aspinall fight, and like everyone else remembers, it was just, he blew out his knee. But if you watch that fight, like he blew out his knee because he ate a 1-2 by Blades. It was going backwards and then blew out his knee stepping back. Blades was landing a lot of strikes in that first minute. Not that that's any indication of how a 5-round championship fight will go, but I definitely think Blades is a lot more live than a lot of people are giving him credit for. And I forget, I think it was Chael Sonnen said this earlier this week in an interview. He picked Aspinall as well, but he said there's a huge thing when you've already been to the UK, you fought in this guy's territory, you fought for a main event, you know everything, you're already ready. You've done it once. It's a lot easier the second time. He's, I think, the same kind of time difference where they started the fight later there so we could watch it. So I definitely am going to throw some on Blades at this number. I don't know how he will win this. I think he might get lucky and get a KO, but I think there's enough play there with the plus 400, plus 300, whatever he is, to bet him straight. But I'm rocking with Aspinall. I agree. I think that he's just more, he's more slippery. He's showed significant increase since that injury. And I'm looking forward to potentially seeing Aspinall versus Jon Jones for the heavyweight true title, undisputed title. But yeah, I'm rocking with Aspinall.
But I have a question for you guys because I was listening to Pound for Pound with Usman and Cejudo, and they were talking about who poses the worst matchup out of the two to Jon Jones. Cejudo was pretty adamant on Aspinall, where Usman leaned Blades. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
I think clear Aspinall.
Yeah, so do I. I think Aspinall, but I just probably think Usman was leaning Blades because he's boys with him. But
yeah, I think we've seen time and time again. Let's not act like Curtis Blades is as good as wrestler as DC was, and Jon Jones made it look like two different worlds in the wrestling department in those fights. And then you pair Aspinall's pretty good on the ground with the striking ability, with being a heavyweight and being a much bigger guy than Jon Jones is naturally. I just think that's the fight to make. It's got to happen, I feel like, at this point, but who knows? Jon Jones might just hang him up.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there, Luke.
Yeah, I'm on Aspinall. It does kind of worry me, though. Like, I hope he's not overlooking Blades here. Yeah, I know this was like his only loss, technically, but, it just seems like him and Jon Jones have been trading words for so many months now, and that's what he really wants. So I hope that he's fully locked in here and is not overlooking Curtis Blades. It does worry me. Blades has taken down every fighter he's ever faced, but like you guys touched on, that doesn't really worry me with Aspinall. Like, I think Aspinall is going to be able to get back on his feet and eventually knock out Blades. I think this one actually escapes the first round, which is unlike a Tom Aspinall fight, and I think he knocks him out in round 2 in his home country. And then he calls out Jon Jones. He's like, let's go. Come on, dude.
And Colin, like you just said, where you're like, I think Aspinall gets up to his feet. Blades is taking everybody down. It's like, it's not like Aspinall's uncomfortable like a lot of heavyweights are being on the ground, you know? Like, Aspinall is more than comfortable there, where a lot of heavyweights, I hate to sound kind of blunt, but they're more unathletic and one-dimensional than other weight classes, and that's not like Tom Aspinall, where he will be comfortable anywhere that this fight can go.
Yeah, I agree. Tom Aspinall's style is good at every weight class. Like, it's just you shrink the guy and he can fight any weight class. He has that level of tools in his toolbox. The only thing that, like you said, like, if you guys remember, Aspinall came out when this fight was dropped and he was like, yeah, I've been trying to fight, Cyril Gahn, but he's like out filming a movie, so I guess I have to fight Blades. Like, it was like a weird vibe. It wasn't like, let's go, I want to revenge my loss. Obviously, it's more like that now. I know after the fight when he blew out his knee, they like shared beers and stuff, so maybe they're like kind of boys. But that kind of worried me too. It's like, why don't you want to just avenge your loss? Like, kind of like Sugar Sean was like, I want to fight Cheeto, even though it's down in the ranks. I want to avenge that loss, even with the injury. So I don't know. Weird vibes. Just like you said, I hope he's not overlooking this and looking to fight, the GOAT.
I will say, though, Aspinall is a professional, and he does conduct himself like a professional. So I'd assume that Aspinall will go into this fight fully prepared for anything Blades can throw at him. So
I agree. One of the most professional guys on the roster, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's move on to the main event. Leon Edwards defending his welterweight belt at -260 versus Belal Muhammad at +210. Belal finally gets his title shot. Edwards is 14-2 with a no contest against Belal. Back in the day, Edwards eye poked Belal pretty bad that the fight had to stop. Hopefully, we don't repeat that here. He's on a 4-fight win streak versus Nate Diaz, Usman twice, and Colby Covington, who he UD'd in his last fight to retain the belt. And that's 3 straight title fight wins. Muhammad is 14-3 with the no contest against Edwards. 5 straight wins against Damian Maia, Wonder Boy, Vincent Luque, Sean Brady, and Gilbert Burns. That Burns fight, though, Gilbert busted his shoulder in the first round and was basically couldn't use his right arm. And all were via UD besides Brady. He did knock out Brady, which is unlike Belal Muhammad. Guys, does Leon Edwards get it done in his home country, or does Belal finally get his chance for the belt and take it back home with him?
I don't know, man. I feel like Bilal's being like really overlooked in this fight. Just like I feel like everyone's just on the Leon train. And I mean, I'm on the Leon train too, but that's mainly because like what does Belal do that Leon hasn't seen? Like what is in what category does Belal stand out? What you want to like be like, oh, Bilal's a good wrestler. He has like this pressure to an extent, but he also kind of fights out of range. But you can be like, oh, he's a great wrestler. Okay, he fought Usman. He fought Colby. Like I don't see him being more of an outstanding wrestler than Usman or Covington. In the striking department, it's not like he throws anything crazy. Maybe that's why Belal's good. He's just very well rounded, but I like don't see where he wins this fight. Like I don't see him taking down Leon multiple times and racking up control time to secure himself enough rounds to win this fight. I don't see him out striking Leon. So I just don't. I can't really see where Belal wins. Although I do see him being overlooked, but I think Leon will coast his way to UD and what'll be a kind of, in my opinion, a pretty boring main event in this one.
Yeah, Zach, I pretty much agree with most of what you just said. I forget where I heard it from because I was kind of back and forth because, like you said, I thought a lot of people were looking over Belal Muhammad. I mean, the guy does ride like a 10-fight win streak, very good fighter. But what I heard was that really put things in perspective. Was that in his last 3 camps, Leon Edwards trained for Kamaru Usman twice and Colby Covington, 2 of the biggest wrestlers / grapplers in that entire division. So with that being Belal Muhammad's strong suit, he's not, like you said, posing anything new of a threat to Leon Edwards. He's already seen it. He's been training for it for the last 2.5 years, given his fight camps. And he's only going to get better at defending those takedowns, and improving his takedown defense. And Leon Edwards also holds that massive advantage in striking on the feet. And I think what you said, it's going to be maybe not so boring, but you're just going to watch Leon Edwards pick Belal Muhammad apart, round by round. Just keep him at range with the jab, throwing some head kicks here and there, and coast his way to an easy victory.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. I think this ends up being one of the easiest fights on the card to pick. I know, Zach, we talk about it all the time. You're a big non-MMA math. There's no such thing. But let's just play devil's advocate here. Do you think Belal beats Usman now?
No, I don't.
I think maybe he beats Colby, but it's still very, very close fight. And I think Leon dominated, the second Usman fight. Not dominated, but I thought he clearly won and dominated Colby. Like you guys said, Belal does nothing more special than those guys. He's essentially just a different version of them. Maybe the gas tank comes in, but like you said, Leon's got great takedown defense over the last 3 years. I think he pieces them apart. I rewatched the highlights of their first fight, and he was on his way to knocking Belal out. It was getting bad. What'd you say?
So yeah, he's piecing him the whole time.
Yeah, I don't see it being any different. I think very easily this fight could go to UD, but I think what's live with the guy such a big odds, I'm going to take him like third, fourth, or fifth knockout. I think Bilal's, well conditioned enough to get through the first 2 rounds, but I think we're going to see a Leon Edwards finish here, fighting in his hometown, or home crowd at least. This is a key moment for him in his career, and I think this really opens up a whole new can of worms once he gets Belal out of there. Like, who does he fight next? There's some really good guys coming up the ropes, so I think I got Leon here. Definitely take him, safe play, but I'm going to take him third, fourth, or fifth knockout.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said everything that I was going to say, to be honest with you. He's the better striker here. I think he's going to be able to defend Bilal's takedowns. I think Rocky defends his belt, and I think he gets it done relatively easily. All right, gentlemen. Do we want to get a little parlay going?
Yeah, let's just talk first. Who's next for Edwards?
You probably think Shavkat will be the next name thrown out, but I kind of wish. Or
Shavkat called out Ian Gary.
That's what I was gonna say. You'd think Shavkat just given the division, but I feel like he needs another fight before he fights for that belt. It's not like he's really fought anyone up in the rankings at all. Who was his last fight? Was it Wonder Boy? Has he fought since that Wonder Boy fight? I don't remember him fighting since then.
He tore a ligament in his foot, so he's been sidelined with injury.
Yeah. So are you gonna jump from fighting Wonder Boy, who? I mean, I love Wonder Boy. I'm a big fan, but he's nowhere near towards competing for a title. Are you going to go from Wonder Boy to a title shot? That seems like, I don't know. It doesn't seem earned in a way, which, I mean, it doesn't have to be earned, I guess, but it just seems like a very tremendous jump. I'd like to see him fight again before he gets that title shot.
I agree. And Leon's kind of a guy who does take time off. I think you earn it when you have this will be his third title defense. You could kind of take the 6 months off. I would love to see. They kind of talked about it. I think I saw a tweet by Shavkat that Ian Gary said something about him, and he was like, let's do it. And I think that's a great title eliminator. The only other guy is Del Maddalena, which you kind of where is he in the mix? I know they talked about Shavkat, Del Maddalena next, but then you got Colby in that 4. What is Colby doing? Is he done, or is he going to fight? Because I would like to see Del Maddalena, Colby, and then Shavkat versus Gary, and then you kind of play it from there and let Leon kind of hold the crown and maybe let Islam jump up.
I want to see JDM fight Usman, actually. I think that'd be a fun one. And Usman was just saying the other day where he's like, everyone's talking about this title fight and what's next, and people got to remember I'm still in this division, and I'm going to prove I'm still towards the top of this division. So, I mean, if Usman can go and fight JDM, that puts his name right back in the right back in the world for a title shot too. So, I mean, I could see Usman versus JDM, then you can go Shavkat if he fights Ian Gary. You can do that. I mean, I don't know. Again, like you said, I don't know what Colby's deal is, but Usman's name is still in that mix.
Yeah, 100%. I overlooked Usman. He's still ranked number 1 behind the champ on the UFC website. It's just what he wants to do. Obviously, those knees are shot. He jumped up a weight class on short notice to fight Khamzat last, but there's a lot of pieces moving around, and I think if Leon Edwards wins this fight, he kind of just gets to sit back and relax and watch, how everything plays out.
He can sit on his throne. He can sit on his throne and watch the jesters have some fun and figure out what's next for him.
All right, pulling up FanDuel to do.
That's what we like to hear.
I got the app up, Luke.
We were talking about like betting on Aspinall blades, and we are talking about how steep that line is. And I just know for a fact when I have a few Coors Lights in my belly, they're like, I'm gonna have to throw Aspinall on something late. Like, I'm gonna be sitting there, I'm gonna be like, fuck, I really don't want to take blades. Like, let the Coors Lights talk. All right, Aspinall Edwards, slam it.
Yeah, I think an Aspinall Edwards parlay is very much in my future.
It's so gonna happen, dude. Then I'm gonna start talking with a funny accent. We'll see what happens. But,
all right, Zach. Let's go with the safe parlay first. Do you have your pick in mind?
Yeah. You know what? I'll go with Mick Parkin. I was talking about it earlier, and I think I busted our last parlay on like the second fight of the card, and this time on the second fight of the card, we're gonna get a little W, and we're gonna move it on to the next guy.
Yeah, I like that. Let's go.
I will be taking the fight right after that. I like Sam Patterson.
Yes.
One of the safer plays on this card. Give me Sam Patterson.
I like that.
And I'll follow it up. 4 fights after that, maybe 5. I'll take Nathaniel Wood. I think he gets it done. Clear path to victory. Big favorite. Safe play. I was stuck between him and Meatball, but
I'm going
like
Meatball.
too.
I'm going Meatball. I'm going Meatball.
Is it the plus 200 on that? I'm just curious.
it's got to be around that. They're all
pretty big favorites, yeah.
Hold on, I'm not seeing Parkin on ESPN.
Well,
no, here he is. Here he is. No, I'm just blind as hell. It's fine. That is plus 142.
Damn.
All right, well, that's a free $142 to my bank account.
Yeah, Parkin, Patterson, Meatball Molly, Nathaniel Wood is plus 142.
I'll take that. I also kind of want to throw like Leon, maybe like Leon Aspinall.
Well, it's for the long. We could do the long shot, even though like they're favored, so they're not really long shots. I mean, on the card like this, I feel like we got to go method of victory. It's not like UFC 303 where there's a lot of close fights. Like there's a lot of heavier favorites on this card.
Yep. What do you got, Zach?
Here's someone else can go. I'm still looking around a little bit.
He's playing around.
For long shots.
I mean, I like Gregory Rodriguez to win just in general, to be honest, but I don't know if I want to take that or if I want to find like a method of victory to.
I mean, I was the only one that wasn't on Rodriguez, so like I'll tip the cap and rock with Rodriguez. You 3 were on it, so
just as like an underdog play at plus odds, I do like Rodriguez to win. So
plus 120. Just get it at plus odds.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take Rodriguez, and I kind of started off my little spiel going, "Give me Rodriguez." So I'll throw him in there.
I'm willing to die on my horse. I think Manel Kape ends Mokaev's hype train. I'll take Manel Kape at plus odds.
Manel Kape. Oh my god, that's crazy. I have one, but I think it might be a little too crazy. It might be a little too juicy. Like
I don't know.
Long shot.
Some crazy guys, dude.
Bro, like Arnold Allen by knockout at plus 500. Like that's a little crazy.
I love it.
Now I'm in the same kind of realm. I'm thinking Meatball by knockout.
Yeah.
I was thinking Meatball.
I just said that I think she's gonna gas out maybe and go by UD.
But dude, the chick she's fighting has gotten knocked out 3 times in her career. Like that's a lot. Like she's susceptible to getting hit. Meatball is gonna be freaking big. I don't dislike Meatball by knockout one bit.
I don't dislike it either.
That sub is live too. That's a play I'm gonna have. I'm gonna take Meatball by KO.
Okay.
Let me see what the.
You know what? I'm torn between Arnold Allen by knockout at plus 5, but I don't want to do Patty Pimblett because 2 of us are on King Green. But I was going to do Pimblett by points at plus 275.
Honestly, even if you threw it like you wanted to go Pimblett, even if you go Pimblett by decision, I know that's not technically plus odds, but like in a 4-leg parlay when 2 of them are plus odds, like that juices it up so much. Where it's like it has to be a plus odds play,
So I changed my selection to Meatball by KO or sub, going against what I said earlier that she's going to go to decision. I think she does get it done now, and it's plus 165.
Yep, I got it.
Double chance on FanDuel. Now we're at 12.75. 10 to win, $127.50.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fucking juicy, man. So even if you were to throw in Patty Pimblett by decision, I know it's not technically plus odds. That'll
no,
jack
Patty
that.
Pimblett by decision is plus 275.
Yeah.
It's juicy. Like
Or
that
I was
juice
saying
it
if
the
you just
hell
went
up.
Patty Pimblett money line, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
money
wouldn't
line.
care. Yeah, not by decision, money line. I mean,
Yeah, but you know, you and Luke like King Green, you know, so I like.
You're second guessing.
King Green.
But if it gets down to it, like that would be the last fight. So like you guys would have to root for Patty Pimblett. Oh man.
I'm with it.
I'm looking at damn. Aspinall by KO is minus 150.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was looking at.
KO minus
But, like,
150. I mean, chances are that fight's not going to go the distance, and I do think Aspinall wins. So
I'm checking Edwards by KO. 330.
I want to be the devil on Tong's shoulder and just tell him to go Arnold Allen plus 500.
Dude, what if we added Arnold Allen plus 500? What the fuck would the odds be?
Dude, let's
I
juice
mean, the
this
odds
thing
would
to
be
the
fucking
moon.
through the roof, dude. Through the roof.
Let's juice this
There
thing
wouldn't
to
be
the moon.
Oh, it's just such
Arnold Allen by KO plus 600 on FanDuel. 10 to win, $953.
Oh my god.
It's almost plus 10,000.
It's almost plus 10,000, bro.
I don't know, man. That's sketchy.
All right.
Plus
you know what?
10,000.
No, you know what? I'll do even though it's minus 150, I'll do Aspinall. I'll do Aspinall by knockout.
All right.
I didn't want to be split on the Arnold Allen was a little too ballsy. And I didn't want to be but if he does knock him out, I'm gonna be tight.
Yeah. If you knock him out, I'll take the blame for that one. I'll
10 to win, 216.
Plus 2,600. That's money.
216 plus 21.
21. Yeah, plus 21.
What'd I say?
26.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. That was bad math.
Damn, I only got it plus 1,900. It's still solid though. All right, gentlemen. Let's win some goddamn money, huh?
Let's hit a safe parlay this week, get back on track, and we'll go from there. You know,
Yeah.
I think we're bound to hit a long shot. Why not this week?
We need to hit something, boys. The fellas need some money. I need some fucking spending money.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the safe play early on, and then we're gonna wait till Aspinall to cash the long shot. It's gonna be a great night for the gentlemen. And then I'm gonna buy a ton of shots in Boston. The safe play?
It was Mick.
We have Parkin, Sam Patterson. Then it's you took
Meatball and Nathaniel Wood.
McCann and Nathaniel Wood.
Great parlay.
I honestly think there's a lot of opportunity to make money with like different incremental parlays throughout this card. Like there's a lot of chalky plays that I feel so confident in with like different 3-leggers throughout the card that you can really cash in on.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see. Yeah. I see Nathaniel Wood winning, Molly McCann. I even like calling Loughran to win, but I'll throw him in some stuff like Patterson, Parkin, like all of those guys. Like I really don't see them losing. Even then, like Leon, Aspinall, like I'll probably throw like 5 or 6 different parlays, combining all of those guys in weird different ways.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I'm definitely going to be taking both sides of the same fight as a last leg in some of these. I know I've gotten shirked for it before, but there's no sweeter feeling than when it just gets down to it and you're guaranteed to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Brian, make sure you send me any crazy long shot plays you got, like knockout in round 3 or, round 5. I'd like to see those.
We will.
You've been hot with those. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in for the UFC 304 prediction pod. We'll be back early next week to recap the Manchester card. See you then.
It's been a pleasure.